Germany awake. This rallying call was more potent than any politician's catchphrase. It rang out as a cry for salvation. Germany awake.
One nation and immigration.
We're honoring the founding fathers who were white. We're honoring all of the great white men who are being smeared and defamed and torn down.
For a nation in turmoil, its identity shaken after a lost war, the call brought the promise of a new dawn, united under one symbol and one man.
They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. They want you silent. And I am the only one that can save this nation because you know they're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving.
The call came from a man who understood the magical power of simple imagery. A man who liked to descend from the clouds to his people, like some kind of god. Millions were ready to give unquestioning loyalty to any man who would promise them what they most needed: law and order, a sense of purpose, and above all, belief in themselves. Adolf Hitler appeared to millions of Germans as the man who could give them all this. In him, they saw the living proof that the course of history could be bound up with the destiny of one man. His Minister for Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, expressed it in these words:
Mag gut sein, Macht zu besitzen, die auf Gewehren ruht. Besser aber und beglückender ist es, das Herz eines Volkes zu gewinnen und es auch zu behalten.
Hitler saw himself as the savior of a world on the brink of disaster. And that was the image he conquered.
January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. Everyone is listening to you now. You came by the tens of millions to become part of a historic movement, the likes of which the world has never seen before. At the center of this movement is a crucial conviction that a nation exists to serve its citizens. Americans want great schools for their children, safe neighborhoods for their families, and good jobs for themselves. These are just and reasonable demands of righteous people and a righteous public. But for too many of our citizens, a different reality exists. Mothers and children trapped in poverty in our inner cities, rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape of our nation, an education system flush with cash, but which leaves our young and beautiful students deprived of all knowledge. And the crime, and the gangs, and the drugs that have stolen too many lives and robbed our country of so much unrealized potential. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
He was constantly surrounded by hordes of cameramen. Their pictures showed him as a stylized, almost monumental figure. He was preparing his image for posterity, a superb monument in a glorified setting, drawing adoring crowds.
U.S. President Donald Trump defended those who view the Confederate flag as a banner of pride. Trump was asked on Fox News Sunday if the stars and bars, considered a symbol of slavery and oppression by most Americans, was offensive. He answered, quote, "When people proudly had their Confederate flags, they're not talking about racism. They love their flag. It represents the South."
The provincial rabble-rouser from Bavaria rose to be a national leader whose actions shook the world. It was to be one of the most monstrous careers in history. He captured the popular imagination to a degree few politicians have equaled. More than anyone, he spread fear and satisfied sentimental longings for the chosen one who stood alone, burdened by greatness. It was essentially a German career, a career which could only spring from the very roots of German history. But he also, more than any other man, represented the spirit of his age. Millions flocked to his banner. But the old Europe which he claimed he would save was already doomed. And it was this same man who finally destroyed it. The creative fire that carried him to power was also a destructive force of unprecedented energy. People's lives meant nothing to him.
I am your president of law and order and an ally of all peaceful protesters.
Millions were ready to give unquestioning loyalty to any man who would promise them what they most needed: law and order, a sense of purpose, and above all, belief in themselves.
And as their president, I will fight to keep them safe. I will fight to protect you. Today, I have strongly recommended to every governor to deploy the National Guard in sufficient numbers that we dominate the streets. Mayors and governors must establish an overwhelming law enforcement presence until the violence has been quelled. If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them.
He wanted to dam the course of history, and his followers, trusting blindly to the last, believed that he could. They did not consider the victims.
To run about a block as police moved in. We've been fired at with rubber bullets. My cameraman has been hit. We've also seen tear gas being used. Here we go, they're moving through again. This is exactly what it looks like. military.
Press, let's go. Press, let's go. Come on. Guys, we gotta go.
Thanks to him, Germany and the old Europe came to a catastrophic and inglorious end.
Stay by. We have a great country. That's my thoughts. It won't take long. It's not going to take long. You see what's going on. It's coming back. It's coming back strong. It'll be greater than ever before.